Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling two huge pieces of the puzzle that is Indian democracy. The parliament, which, makes all the rules, and the judiciary, which is basically the referee making sure everyone plays fair.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Think about it. Any game, especially one with over 1 billion players, needs a clear rule book and a referee to call the shots, right? Well, in a democracy, that's exactly what this is all about. It's the system that's supposed to guarantee fairness and protect the rights of every single person. So who holds the whistle and who gets to write the rules? Let's find out.
So here's our game plan. We're going to follow the journey of a law. We'll start with how the rules get made in Parliament, and then we'll look at who makes sure those rules are actually followed. We'll break down the different levels of courts and the kinds of cases they deal with before we get to the really big question. Does this system of justice actually work for everyone?
All right, first up, the rule makers. In India, the place where all the laws get made is the parliament. This is the institution that's supposed to be the voice of the people, taking what we want and turning it into the actual law of the land. Now, parliament isn't just one big room. It's actually made up of 2 different houses, and each one has a really specific job. First, there's the Lok Sabha, which literally means the House of the People. These are the folks we directly vote for. Then you've got the Rajya Sabha, or the Council of States, which represents the interests of all the different states. Having both ensures that laws are looked at from every angle, nationally and locally. And here's the most crucial part. This power doesn't just come from nowhere. It all starts with us, the citizens. We elect our representatives, these members of parliament or MPs, and they go on to create laws that are supposed to serve us. It's this continuous loop that makes the whole thing democratic.
Okay, so rules have been made. Now what? Well, let's move on to the referees. Once a law is official, you need a totally neutral body to interpret it, apply it, and make sure it's being followed. In India, that absolutely massive job belongs to the judiciary. And for this system to have any real teeth, the judiciary has to be independent. It's as simple as that. The courts can't be taking orders from the politicians who make the laws or the government that enforces them. This separation of powers is one of the absolute cornerstones of the democracy, making sure that nobody, not even the government, is above the law.
So what does the judiciary actually do? Well, it juggles 3 main roles. First, it's a dispute resolver, whether that's a fight between neighbors or a citizen suing the government. Second, it has this incredible power called judicial review, which means it can actually strike down a law if it goes against the Constitution. It's like the ultimate guardian of the rule book. And finally, it upholds the law and protects the fundamental rights of every single citizen. So how is this whole system of justice actually organized? It's not just one giant court, of course. India has this really neat integrated judicial system that's structured just like a pyramid.
Okay, so at the very bottom, the base of the pyramid, you've got the district courts. These are the courts most people will actually deal with in their lifetime. Move up a level, and you have the high courts, which are the top courts in each state. And then right at the very peak, sitting in New Delhi, is the Supreme Court of India. And whatever it decides, that's the final word for every other court in the country.
So what's the point of this whole pyramid setup? Well, it's all about something called the appellate system. It basically means that if you go to a lower court and you feel the decision wasn't fair, you can appeal. You can take your case to the next level up the pyramid. It's a really important check and balance that allows decisions to be reviewed and corrected.
Now, the courts are busy, but what are they busy with? Well, not all legal fights are created equal. The law is basically split into 2 big buckets: criminal law and civil law. And knowing the difference is pretty key to understanding what our courts do all day.
Let's break this down. On one hand, you've got criminal law. This deals with acts that are seen as crimes against all of society, things like theft or murder. It usually kicks off with a police report, an FIR. On the other hand, there's civil law. This is all about disputes between people over their rights. Think arguments over rent, property, or divorce. The goal here isn't jail. It's usually about getting some kind of compensation or specific relief for the person who was wronged. And that brings us to a really, really important and, frankly, tough question. In theory, the courts are there for every single citizen in India. But is that the reality for everyone on the ground?
Well, the honest answer is, for a huge number of poor people in India, just getting to court can feel impossible. Think about it. Legal procedures can cost a lot of money, there's mountains of paperwork, and it can take up so much time. If you're someone who depends on a daily wage to feed your family, the whole idea of going to court can just seem completely out of reach. To tackle this very problem, the Supreme Court came up with something pretty brilliant back in the 1980s, the Public Interest Litigation, or PIL. This was a total game changer. It allows any person or group to file a case for people whose rights are being violated but can't go to court themselves. It has led to massive judgments on everything from protecting the environment to ensuring prisoners have rights, and it's become a seriously powerful tool for the most vulnerable.
But even with a powerful tool like PIL, there's still this one giant hurdle that's incredibly hard to clear: time. The insane amount of time it can take for courts to give a final judgment is a massive problem. It's so well known, in fact, that there's a famous legal saying that perfectly captures it: justice delayed is justice denied.
So here's the bottom line. India has this amazing, robust democratic system on paper, but there's a huge gap between the promise of justice for all and what many people actually experience. The system is there, but it's creaking under the strain of delays and access issues. And that leaves us with a really tough question to chew on. If justice delayed really is justice denied, then what does it mean when the system is so overwhelmed that the referees just can't keep up with the game?